everyone can understand a bit. So I think it would be better if I use English. Besides, if you are entering regional finals, it's more than likely that you will be using English 24/7 during the 2 days of competition. I don't know how the regional finals will be for this generation because there's COVID, but it's definitely English no matter where the regional final is taking place. So yeah, let's use some English today, okay? Nice to meet you guys. I'm Tiffany. My Chinese name is Zhang Caiqi. I'm currently a fourth-year student majoring in quantitative finance in National Tsinghua University, and I was also a previous contestant at Tokyo Regional Finals last April, and then I came back to Taiwan and I became a campus director last year. So I kind of have a lot of interaction with Hult Prize Foundation and all the campus director around the world. So I'll say I have a kind of deeper understanding of Hult Prize than maybe some of you. So I would like to share what Hult Prize is and what is Hult Prize looking for, so that when you are preparing for Hult Prize, you can actually focus on the points that they are really focusing on. Okay, so besides Hult Prize, I also did some internships that actually that actually benefited a lot from Hult Prize. So when I was in my first year of college, I joined an incubator as an intern, and I started my journey in the startup industry. Okay, I'll speak louder. Okay, like this. So in my first year of college, I joined an incubator as an intern. So that's how I started my journey in the startup industry. I started helping startups, looking at startups, matching resources for startups. So I kind of know how these people started their company. I kind of know what these people need to start a company. But I've never tried it before. Until I joined Hult Prize, I kind of experienced that, utilize what I've learned during the moment. And then after joining the incubator, I got recruited by managing director of DBS. I started a research project with him, which is focusing on fintech, and that's how I got into the world of fintech, startups in fintech. And after joining managing director of DBS private research, I went to Hult Prize regional finals, which I ended up being questioned a lot on the part of market access. So I decided, since I don't have any knowledge in market access, especially cross-border market access, so why don't I join British Office Taipei? So I joined British Office Taipei as an associate researcher. And basically I helped fintech companies, ICT companies, smart city companies, and biotech companies to do global market access. And then after that, I joined Cathay Financial Holdings, which is basically a department that cooperates with innovative startups outside of the companies to develop more technologies that is suitable for financial system, or try to adopt new technologies from startups. And then now I'm an investor associate at Rookie Fund, which is trying to look for good investment targets, good business ideas. And it's kind of like what Hult Prize is doing. The only thing Hult Prize is different from a real VC is that Hult Prize also wants you to have some social impact. They are looking for something that is creating profit and it is creating social impact. So since you kind of know my work experience, so I would like to share some of my journeys in Hult Prize so that you know what you will be going through in this couple months and what you will be going through if you're getting into regional finals. So before talking about the journey, I would like to ask you this question. What does the future that you're preparing for look like? Because you are not going to participate in something for no reason. So So why did you participate in Hult Prize? Are you expecting anything? Like, are you expecting to put something on your CV? Are you expecting to learn any kind of skills? Is there anything that you're expecting from Hult Prize? Anyone who can answer it? Hi. Hi, where are you from? Oh, ¿cómo estás? So, what do you think about this question?
I think that I really joined the Hult Prize because, in Taiwan, I've been learning that, or I've seen that young people have the opportunity to learn more about business and how to create a company. And actually, it's something that is very interesting for me. And the fact that Hult Prize has the goal to have a social impact is also really nice. So I really want to learn more about business and how to do all about that, to have that new skill and also help.
Great, thank you. So any other Taiwanese fellows who would like to answer this question? Hi.
Maybe learn more knowledge about fin or tech to combine with my expertise. Combine two of them in my future. Yeah.
Anyone else? Anyone else? No? No? It's okay, it's okay. So I will say whatever we're doing, we are aiming for, we are expecting to create some benefits in the future, right? Because you are investing your time in it. So to me, I think there are two things that are actually affecting the future that we're going to be in. So one thing is the digital transformation. So in the future, we will be seeing more companies coming up with innovative strategies to adopt technologies in their company. They will base on these technologies and create more services. And to me, it sounds like creating a business in the company. Because when you are coming up with new services, new products, you need time to experiment it. And you need resource to experiment it. Who will be giving you the resource? Your boss. So you need to pitch to your boss and tell them, why is this product worth trying? Or why your boss should give you the resource to test something out. And when you are doing these experiments, these test outs, you will need some methodologies like the Lean Startup or some other scientific methodologies to help you create a better product or better service that is suitable for your customers. And throughout the experience of Hult Prize, you will be going through the process. This is the kind of process that you will not go through in normal classes when you are just simply doing a presentation or a report, because you have to actually come up with something innovative, something that is not in this world currently. And you have to think about it very thoroughly. You need to think about the financial part, you need to think about the product part, marketing part, competitor part. This is not something you'll be going through in classes, to be honest. So I really appreciate that you guys take this chance take this opportunity as a way to learn something new, to learn something out of the classes, and to learn something useful in the future. And according to the things that I talked in the previous section, I would say there are several characteristics for the talents in the future. You have to be innovative. And here, when you are doing the Hult Prize, yes, you are definitely coming up with something innovative. And also, you need to be problem solving, because any one of you will be solving some problem in the future. And in Hult Prize, they already give you a problem, food for good, and you have to come up with a solution and come up with a strategic solution to actually deal with this kind of problems. And this solution has to be very thorough. You have to combine all the aspects that you see. And then the last but not least, but it's CSR spirit. We can see more and more companies embracing CSR into their business operations. And since you are in Hult Price, you are learning about SDGs, you are learning about social impact. So once you start working, it will be easier for you to engage CSR in your class or in your innovative solutions. So I would say you guys are lucky and you're here. So I would say how these Hult Price gave me this kind of value. And so I started Hult Price actually at the original final round because my team used to have another Indian, but his professor was so strict. His professor said, no, you are not going to Tokyo to do the regional finals because you have to be in the lab 24/7. I need you to be in the lab 24/7. So he dropped out, so I went in and we started everything from scratch again. And since my Indian fellow, he is from a farmer's family in India, so we came up with a youth unemployment solution to deal with farmers in India and farm workers in India. And the most, I would say the most memorable thing is when the judges ask you about your business model. Then you will find out that, oh, I actually don't know this part, I actually don't know that part. I only focus on what I've learned in school. I actually don't know anything. So that is how I realized I didn't know anything about market access, so that's how I joined the Shopee Taipei after that. So once you have someone to point out what you don't know, you have a way or a direction to move forward. And also during regional finals, it's very good to see, it's very honored to see more than 50 nationalities in one conference. You will see the best entrepreneurs all around the world, and if you have great connection with them, you will still be talking to them. For example, I met a bunch of people from Ecuador, a bunch of people from Zimbabwe, from Malaysia, from Europe. We're still talking. We're still chatting about COVID. We're still chatting about entrepreneurship all around the world. And this is how I gain information about entrepreneurship around the world. I am familiar with the entrepreneurship environment in Estonia. I am familiar with the problems in Zimbabwe, something like this. So I would say if you can get into regional finals, please don't miss the chance. And not only first place can get into regional finals. Sometimes they invite the second place and third place as well. So don't miss the chance. It's a very, very nice chance to broaden your horizon. And if the vaccine, COVID vaccine, is working well, you guys might be able to have physical regional finals. So you will be meeting judges face to face. When I was in Japan competing, our judges were CEO of DHL, CEO of Toys R Us, 玩具反斗城的 the toy company, and CEO, general partners of some very, very nice venture capitals. I remember some fund manager came from there are some fund managers who came from SoftBank at the time, and you can also see some key opinion leaders in the field of NGOs or social impact. So it's really nice to be able to talk to them face to face. And actually they have something called, I forgot the name of the session, but it will separate all the teams into two sections. So half of the team will be presenting in the morning and half of the team will be presenting in the afternoon. And those teams who are not presenting will be listening to the team that are presenting. And after all the teams present, the judges will ask the team who are sitting down, and ask them, what do you think about this business model? For example, if a team is talking about a business in India, then the judges will find someone who looks Indian and ask him, oh, what do you think about this business model? So you actually have the opportunity to discuss face to face with the best talents in the world, with the best elites around the world. So I would say don't miss the chance, and you will learn a lot, and you will make a lot of friends. And your English will improve a lot. Your English will definitely improve a lot because you will be speaking English 24/7. And then after you come back to Taiwan, you will still be chatting with them, either through phone calls or via messages. You will be using English a lot. And as a regional finalist or as a Hult Prize competitor, you will be going through these process. So the first thing is you need to find the demand. Food for good is a very general concept. It's talking about food. So which part about food? Is it about the supply chain? Is it about the employment? Is it about market access? Is it about the price? You need to find a demand that you are focusing on. For example, you think farmers are poor. Why are they poor? So you found the demand. And then you find the root problem that is causing poverty of farmers. But when you are looking for the problem, you need to keep asking yourself why. You need to find the root cause. Otherwise, even if you solve something, it's not going to solve the actual problem that you are trying to solve. So it's very careful, and I would say at this stage, it is important for you to do a lot of market research, and you also need some mentors to guide you through this process. And especially, you guys know anything like design thinking? Yeah, so if you can apply design thinking or this kind of scientific methodologies in your thinking path, then it will be better for you to define what your problem is. And then after defining a problem, you will have to come up with a solution. But it's really hard to come up with a thorough solution. So you need to consult a lot of people in different fields. You need to ask a lot of mentors to help you out. Because when you are thinking of a solution, you will find, oh, it's so complete. I love every aspect of the solution. But when your mentors start asking you, what are you going to do with the delivery part? What are you going to do with the financial part? How long will you be making money? Then you will start thinking, oh, this solution is actually not that thorough. So it's important for you to find mentors and engage them in your business model so that you can find out what is not enough in your business model. And then after you have the solution, you have to charm the judges. I think 你们讲过 Hult Prize 的规则，什么6分钟、4分钟。
我的这我讲过，然后之后再来跟detail的有一个 PDF 档面。
Okay, so in Hult Prize you have 6 minutes to present, and they will ask you questions in 4 minutes. So unlike regional finals, in regional finals they have a call-out session. So once every presentation is finished, once the judges have some ideas of what you're doing, they will ask some teams to come back and ask them some specific questions. But I don't think that is gonna take place in campus finals. So you only have 10 minutes to charm your judges. How do you do that? These judges, they need to listen to 15, 16 pitches a day, and you are just one of them. How do you make them wow? Or are you just something that they listen to, like podcasts, right? So you need to make sure they understand everything. And you need to make sure that what you're explaining is something that even if they are not looking at the PowerPoint, they still understand. I think you guys can take a look at the winner of 2019, Rutopia, their winning presentation at the United Nations. They did a very great job with explaining what they're doing. Even if you don't look at the PowerPoint, you still understand what they're doing. This is very important. And I would like to take the demo day that I did at Cathay Financial Holdings as example. We had 9 companies showing their products. But since I was the one who was dealing with all the companies, I totally understand what they were doing. But to most people, they only have time for one pitch. So what I think is a best company is really different from what people think is a best company. The reason why is the company that most people like is the company that can describe their business model or their products in one sentence, easy to understand and easy to remember. So you might need to take this into consideration, how to explain your business model or business idea in one sentence so that the judges actually understand what you're saying. I still remember when I was in Japan, we had judges as Japanese. So there was a team who has a very, very strong Indian accent. I had a hard time understanding them. I had, and I believe so were the judges. That team, they didn't get a co-back session. And I saw the judges' faces. They looked very confused. They kind of gave up. So if you know that you have a strong accent, you might need to slow down a bit. If you think, oh, my English is actually good, then keep doing. But you have to make sure your explanation is simple because these people, they are from different fields. They are not going to be able to understand every single professional phrases that you're using. So you need to use simple words. Yeah, and also when I'm trained as an venture capitalist in Rookie Fund, there's one thing that our mentor told us. The charm of a founder is really important because at the very beginning of a business model, you cannot actually evaluate how good or how big this business model is gonna be. So what you can do is to pick the right person who can lead the company through the challenges, no matter what challenges they're facing. These founders are going to be able to turn the company over, and maybe they will change the business idea. Maybe they will come up with a new product. But the last thing they can do is to actually close the company. So judges will be judging if you guys are the right people to talk to. Yeah. And then I don't know how many of you have been to ATCC or competitions like business-related competition before. I'll say the most different thing from for Hult Prize and other competitions that you can see in Taiwan is that Hult Prize is all about talking, being innovative and feasible at the same time. But a lot of competitions in Taiwan, they give you a structure. They want you to do a nice report. So you already have, they give you the assumption that you already have resources. But for Hult Prize, you start everything from scratch. You need to assume that, oh, you are not having any resources. You have to, although you will be having $1 million US, but to be honest, in the startup industry, $1 million US is not much, to be honest. It's not. So this is the most important, this is the most different part. And then Hult Prize is the only social entrepreneurship competition that you can see in Taiwan that is focusing on students. Only students can join this competition. And at the same time, it's focusing on social impacts. Usually you see some competitions like 天下杂志, 天下magazine, they will hold some competitions for social impact. But it's just about social impact. You don't need to make any money out of it. But this is a social enterprise competition. And it's a global competition, which you can put on your CV and say that, oh, I actually joined an international competition. This sounds better than any national competition, right? I think so. And as for this competition, because it's an entrepreneurship competition, so you're actually considering a lot of aspects. Unlike some other business competitions, you only think about sales. You only think about financial aspects. So this is very different, I would say. Grab this opportunity. There are some teams in other campuses that drop out, but I would say that's very sad. You have already walked so far, and why don't you just keep pushing for the one last mile? Maybe you will be chosen as one of the best teams, who knows? And then, okay, so as I said, my best moment of Hult Prize is to meet entrepreneurs around the world. And this is Ismail from South Africa and my friends from Ecuador. They sent me this photo this year. They said, oh, I actually found you in our photos. You are always eating. Oh, by the way, the food at Hult Prize is really great. Hult Prize Regional Finals is really great. They have little tarts, like French tarts you would see in French restaurants, so it's really great. And yeah, so aim for regional finals. Oh, one thing, even if you don't get the $1 million US, if you are able to get into accelerator in London, it's more than likely that you will be seen by some angel investors, and they will also invest some funds in you. So it's not winning $1 million US is not the only way you can start your company. You can also get into the accelerator and get funded. So you have many ways to start up your company. Don't aim for that $1 million US, okay? Yeah, so dream big, okay? Dream big. And then I would like to talk about how Hult Prize influenced my life, my work life, especially when I was in Cathay Financial Holdings, because I was dealing with some innovative projects which we need to implement some new technologies in our business processes. And everything is so new that we have to come up with something from scratch, like proof of concept process, like how to deal with the KPI, how much money we can be using. So I would say Hult Prize actually helped me a lot. How much time do we have?
10 minutes.
10 minutes. Okay, great. So I'm going to talk about things that I wish I had known back then when I was participating in Hult Prize. So first of all, I will separate it into 4 aspects. The first thing is idea, the second thing is products, and the third thing is your team. And then the fourth thing will be your execution. So is it a good idea? First of all, is it a real demand that needs to be solved? So for example, you love eating avocado, but you need more recipes for avocado, but is it something that everyone needs? For example, you hate avocado. Do you hate avocado? Okay. Anyways, maybe we have shantai, cilantro. So not everyone loves cilantro. I think probably only half of the people love cilantro over here, and the other half hates it. So is it a problem that needs to be solved? Is it providing a demand that is big enough for you to make money out of it? And then once you come up with a problem that needs to be solved, you need to think about if your company is gonna develop based on this idea. What competitions is it gonna meet, and how can you grow out of it? And then you need to think about your business idea with logical procedures like design thinking, so that you have a very thorough view on what you're dealing with, and you can actually engage other people's ideas into your business idea, so that it is more diverse and it is more thorough. And then for products, the first thing is, do you know your customers well enough? If you don't know them well enough, how can you be sure that your product is something that they need? You cannot just think about, oh, I think they need something. You need to let them tell you, I need something. So it is very dangerous if you just come up with an idea with a product basing on online research. It's not gonna be effective enough. Once you throw your product into the market, you will find out, oh, my target customers are actually not buying it. And then you have to think about, why do customers need your product? Yeah, you probably solved some of their problems, but do they really need it? Is it gonna make a big difference in their life? it's gonna make some difference in their life. Is it big enough for them to actually spend the money on it? And then the last thing, how can you update your product in the right way? That is very important, because something that we need in 2017 and something that we need in 2020 is totally different. In 2017, we probably didn't need, for example, in 2017, we still need Face ID, but currently we are wearing masks. We don't need Face ID. We hate Face ID. It's not unlocking our phones. We need fingerprint, but Apple's not bringing fingerprint back, so I'm so sad. So something like this, you need to come up with need to update your product in the right way. And I like a quote from Li Xiaolai, which is a very famous entrepreneur in China. He said, you need to make your product sensitive. Sensitive? Yeah, I think the word is sensitive, because it needs to be able to sense your customers. So you need to be able to accumulate data scientifically from your product, so that you can update your product according to those insights from the data. And then team. This is the most important thing. I didn't think about it before, and I'm glad that I had a wonderful team. But there are some teams which are composed with some employers and some entrepreneurs. You need to think about who is the employer and who is the entrepreneur. Do you guys know the difference between entrepreneur and employees? Entrepreneur and employees. What's the difference between entrepreneur and employees? Anyone? Nurse? Yes?
Maybe I can say that an entrepreneur is someone that is not expecting a salary. It's not expecting. I'm not familiar with that, but an employee will always have someone that. And I mean, how to say,
They need separate money guarantee.
yeah, and they know they are not gonna have risk, but an entrepreneur is like, let's do something innovative, let's do something let's.
So they are driven by passion and responsibility. So I think she mentioned something really clearly. An entrepreneur, they are driven by passion, by motivation. They are motivated to do something. But employees, they are motivated by income. As long as you give them enough money, they will do something for you. But anything that is not written in the contract, they are not going to take it or do it. So if you need someone who are willing to, if you need someone who is willing to take the responsibilities, who is willing to grow with the company, for example, you only have 4 people in the team, and you don't have anyone who studied marketing before, but you need someone to do marketing. You don't have the money to hire someone. You need to learn. Is your teammate gonna learn for you? Or do you have to pay them more so that they will learn something about marketing, something like this? And also, an entrepreneur is willing to learn side skills for their business. So you have to think about, if you are an entrepreneur, are you willing to learn something new to make this business successful? Are you willing to put more effort in it? And then once you understand the difference between entrepreneur and employee, once you know if you are an entrepreneur or an employee, you have to take a look at your teammates. Are they entrepreneurs or employees? If they are just employees, well, you need to find a way for them to work. Well, if they are working a bit disappointingly, then you might need to think about some harsh decisions. But that is not something for you to consider now. Maybe maybe the judges will be asking you, because when I was in regional finals, the judges were actually asking, oh, how did you guys meet? Who is the CEO? Who is the CFO? Who is managing the data? Who is managing the money? They actually ask something like this. So you need to make sure your team are willing to take this kind of responsibility. And the last thing, execution. Execution is really important, not for campus finals, but for regional finals. When I was in regional finals, I saw all the top 6 teams, they kind of executed their business plan when they were in winter break or between campus final to regional final. So you need to come up with a real execution plan so that you can kind of test out your MVP, your minimum viable product. And also you need to come up with a financial plan. You don't need to you don't need to really illustrate it specifically in your pitch, but you need to prepare a page of PowerPoint in your appendix so that once the judges are asking anything about it, you are able to show it. Even though we don't believe in profits, but we do believe in burn rate, because burn rate is something that you can expect and you can count, although we don't, and so that you can actually come up with a better idea of income. And yeah, and also there's one thing that is really important. How do you do market access? You are not going to earn any profit unless your products are sold. So I believe the judges will be asking a lot about market access, because when I was in Japan, the judges asked almost every single team about market access, and they have some really, really harsh questions, especially from those CEOs. They only care about market access. So yeah, and then you need to set up your KPIs for each year so that they know how much impact you're making, how much profit you're making, what are the key index for you to actually succeed in the industry. Basically, that's it. Oh my god, we finished! 10 minutes? Okay, great. Time control is also an important thing. We only have 6 minutes. Any question? No questions.
大家也可以用中文。
也可以用中文问，听得懂。
Since you've mentioned about market access, which do you think is more imperative, a feasible business model or a unique and has not been introduced to the market business model?
I would say I'm still very confused about this for Hult price, because in the previous years there were some very, very unique business model that they ended up transforming into another business after they start their company. And recent years they picked some business models that I don't actually think that is unique but very feasible. So I think you need feasibility and uniqueness at the same time. It's a hard thing to say. It's really hard, but I would say feasibility is definitely one of the key points that you need to think about. Because if it's not feasible, no matter how much money they give you, it is still not feasible.
So it's all about balance. It's all about balance.
Of course, your idea has to be unique. You cannot bring out an idea that all the competitors are talking about. Of course, it has to be unique. It has to be able to bring out some impact. But even if it's a similar idea, you need to come up with some points that is so unique that makes your idea better than some other ideas. For example, you have a better plan for market access, which is different from other teams, although your business model is the same. So you can think it from this way. Even if it's the same business model, why is your team able to execute it? Why is your team having a better plan for it? Because if it's a good idea and everyone's doing it, then why are you doing better, right? Yeah, so I'd say think it this way. For example, we have a lot of startups in the industries that are having similar business model, but some are doing better than the others. Some are getting more investment than others. Why? You can think about it.
Questions. I would like to add, as you mentioned before, that we need to trump the judge.
Yes.
And can you give some practical advice that include, like, do we need to have some physical gesture or what special factor that we need to include in our presentations?
Okay, so I don't know if you guys know a very famous author called Simon Sinek. Simon Sinek, he provided a very, very effective theory called the Golden Circle, which is a good theory that is helping you to really send the messages into the emotional part of your audience's brain. So you start from, why are you doing this? Why are you building this business model? Who are you building it for? Why are you so motivated to do this? And then talk about how you're gonna do it. And then what product are you providing to solve this business idea? I would say by following this structure, you can effectively send what you want to say to the judges, send your messages to the judges. But another thing, which is very important, is being confident. A lot of Taiwanese students that I'm seeing are quite shy. They will be talking like this. Hello, this is my business model, and I would like to, I want to help the farmers in the world. So I would like to create a platform that is showing the advantages of these farmers. No, they are not going to listen to you like this, okay? So you have to make sure you look energetic, you look passionate. I still remember one of the groups that I brought from UK to FinTech Taipei. Yeah. So that group, that company isn't a really great company, but they got a lot of encourages and applauses. So what did they do? The founder kind of jumped on the stage and say, "Hi, how are you? How's everyone? How are you doing? Are you managing your financial well? If you're not, I'm here to help you," something like this. So you need to kind of come up with something unique to actually make the judges remember you. I would say this is a very important thing. And we can kind of look at, you can go watch the winning presentations each year, and you can find out they always have some cool things. For example, Rice Inc., the winner of 2018, they are wearing some kind of traditional dresses from Myanmar, or like Utopia. I think the best thing that they did is that they don't even need to look at the PowerPoints, and they can be speaking. And they can, and when the judges are asking them questions, they will just tell the one who's controlling the computer saying, "Oh, please turn to page 24," and then start explaining. So that is really dope. So make sure you remember all your slides. Yeah. I'll say, yeah, this is important. What else? Hi, darling.
Hi, so like students are from TMU, mostly related to a medical background. So we're not really familiar with business model. So what kind of suggestion would you give us?
Well, I would say students from NTHU are all engineers. We are not familiar with business model. We have really, really little courses from management department. So for business model, you need to think about it in several ways. What Hult Price is looking for is a business model that is profitable so that it can sustain itself, and it's profitable enough so that it can it can be duplicable, so that it can be duplicated in other markets and create more profit, and then it can be scalable so that it can create more and more impact in the future. This is what they're looking for. So business model, it can be in many ways, but first of all, you need to come up with something that sounds feasible. You cannot just come up with something that sounds like 发大财. that is definitely not feasible. I think business model, you need to find your value proposition for your customers and your solution. And once you know what's the relationship between your solution and your customer, then you can come up with a better solution that can be called as a business model. The main idea of business model is how the cash flows in to your company. So I would say it's a very general idea. You don't really need anything about You don't really need any knowledge for a business model. You just need to find out a way to make cash. It's only about making cash. If it's a good solution, then it is a great business model. Yeah, so don't worry about that. Hola, mi amor. Yes?
My question is about like these first presentation, how we needs to be like because we don't know that much or nothing about the business model and just like finances or how much do we need or how much profit or I don't know like all those things.
Okay, so for the business model part, because it's explaining how your cash is coming from your customers, so it has to be the most detailed part. Because if you don't explain your business model detailed enough, then your judges will not understand what you're actually doing. If they don't understand, they will just start to the next one.
But for example, we need to give like numbers or
No, business model is not about numbers. Business model is about the process of how cash flows into your company. For example, what service are you providing? And what's the relationship between what's the process between the customer and your service? For example, this is what you talk about in your business model. As for financial part, if you take a look at the previous winning teams, they seldom talk about, in year 3, I will be making more than 50 million. In year 5, I will be making more, blah, blah, blah. They give you a very general number because it's not really realistic for a business idea that is this early to calculate profit. But you need a general number. For example, you need for example, you're earning $3 from each person. How many customers would you be having by 10 years later? So you need to kind of calculate the number to have a general idea of how much profit you might be making. Of course, the number that you're calculating is definitely not gonna be accurate. But you do need to provide something like burn rate. You need to be able to provide how much you're spending each year for your business process, or how much you might be spending if you are expanding market. So once the judges are asking you, you have some numbers to provide, but you do not need to put this in the pitch because you only have 6 minutes. Talking about this is not gonna help you charm your judges. No, it's not. But they are more than likely to ask you afterwards. There's one tip. Since they will be asking you questions, you can actually have some traps for them to ask. For example, you are now mentioning your financial analysis, and you know that they will be asking you for your financial analysis, so you can prepare a very thorough financial analysis this is a way you can work around it. Yeah.
Okay, I think the time limit, so thanks again for Tiffany for the impressive lectures. Let's give a big applause. 有什么问题要私下问吗？或者想用中文问的，都可以来前面。
可以。